All right, we are ready to go. So, first of all, welcome. Welcome to the webinar. Once again, I'm so excited to have you here today. And I'm really excited to share how to create FIT trips. FIT trips is probably one of my favorites because it can be used for anything. Even though we call it FIT, you can use it for cruises, all inclusive, whatever you want. So, let your mind wander when you watch this demo today of FIT trips. But it's going to be really, really fun. And just in case if there's anyone new here today who's this is your first time seeing Travefy, I am really excited for you to be here. But just to quickly introduce myself, I am Stephanie Grice and senior client. Oh, actually, that is my old title. I am marketing and education coordinator now. It's hard to start doing the new title there. But we also have Kendra Rader on the other end. She's in the behind the scenes. She's on our client champion team helping out with questions. So if you see her in there, you get a response from her. She's back there helping me out today. So we're super excited to have her in there as well. Um, and before I dive in too far here, I just want to quickly go over what we want to talk about here today because there's a lot of things to cover. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be nice, packed in. Hopefully, you'll be able to retain everything really easily. But what we're going to do is we are really the biggest thing doing a live demonstration of creating an FIT itinerary. So we are going to talk about how you create these beautiful, captivating FIT itineraries. So it must be grand. It's going to be amazing. But then the other thing that you'll see is during the demo, you'll also see how to use many of Travefy's time-saving tools. Pretty much, we're going to go over all of them. There might be a couple we're missing, but you're going to see most of all of them, including supplier integrations as well. So you're going to see a lot of different ways that you can use Travefy in building FIT trips, but really just any trip in general as well. The other thing that you're going to see is at the end, we'll talk about how the mobile apps work. And we'll talk about how they work for you, but also how they work for your client as well. And then, of course, we're going to talk about a lot of tips and tricks along the way, including a little bonus of how to market yourself with these trips. So we're going to slide that in at the end as well, because that's always really important too. And then we're going to save some time at the end to do a Q&A. So if you do have a question at any point during this webinar, feel free to throw it in that chat box or that little question area, and hopefully we'll have time to get it at the end. Um, but the other thing about this is, with all that being said, this webinar is being recorded. So if you need to hop off, you get a client call, no worries. Just give us about an hour or two, and then we'll get this webinar loaded onto our YouTube channel. So it'll just be the Travefy YouTube channel. You'll be able to find it on. So that way you can watch it again or send it to any colleagues, friends if you want. And then the other thing to mention is that if you do have questions that maybe don't get answered, or you feel, you're like, this was great, especially if this is the first time seeing Travefy and you want just more in depth on it, please reach out to us at professional@travefy.com. Let us know you're interested. We offer demos, trainings, and they're one on one. We have a lot. So even though you are just here for a webinar today, we have on-demand videos, we have those trainings, so much. So please reach out to us if you do have any questions after this, or just want to see a little bit more of Travefy, or maybe talk about something we didn't go over today as well. Now, another thing that I want to talk about before we dive into creating our FIT itinerary is I also want to give a quick overview of everything that Travefy has to offer. Now, I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on this because I really found how important it is. We always focus on one thing, but if we talk about everything Travefy has to do, we'd be here all day long, which would be really fun for us. But we understand your time is precious. So, just to give you insight of everything else Travefy has to offer, we obviously have that itinerary and proposal solution, which you're going to see that today. But then we also have a simple CRM solution that allows you to capture client information as well using our forms. So you can use a form to collect any type of information you want, and then including that payment information as well in an e-signature. So that's one of the really big things that we've released in the past year, is utilizing those. Now, again, we won't have a time to go over those today, but feel free, check out our help center or schedule a demo and we can show you more on how all of that works. But another thing that I want to highlight here really quick is just our website builder. This is another thing that came out about a year and a half ago, that a lot of Travefy users still haven't. They didn't realize it's even in there yet because we have just released so much. And the website builder is really amazing because it'll help with your marketing needs. And sneak peek, we will talk about it today. You're going to see a little bit of it at the end as well because we're going to talk about the marketing stuff. So we love marketing around here, so we want to talk about that. But really, the best part about all of this is that it is all included in your Travefy subscription. So all of these other features that I talk about, they're not, add-ons or additional subscriptions. It is all part of one plan. So if you're already a Travefy user, you have access to all of this. So that's what's really great about all this. And if you aren't a Travefy user, you can always start a free trial anytime at travefy.com. Go in there. There's a free 10-day trial. You can have access to everything, test it all out, and all that good stuff. So definitely go check it out if you haven't already after this webinar. Now, with that being said, I know that was a little bit of a mouthful. So we're going to take a step back and we are going to dive in to Travefy and we're going to create an FIT trip together. So that's what we're going to do here today is I'm going to walk through, you're going to see my screen, me adding things, showing you how to do different stuff. And remember, use that question box. If you do have any questions, then we can try to answer those at the end. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transition over into here is what you're seeing on your screen right now is the Travefy account. So if you've never seen Travefy before, this is what it looks like when you first log into your account. You'll be able to see all the trips you're working on. And to create a new trip, which we want to do today, I'm just going to click new trip and I can choose itinerary or proposal. Now, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on proposal today, but I do just want to quickly show you the difference between the two. So first of all, you can choose either or. If you choose proposal and you meant to make an itinerary, it's not a big deal. The reason why I say that is because any trip you create, you can always change the type. So you're not locked in, which is good. But also the other thing about it is an itinerary, if you choose itinerary or proposal, the builder looks the exact same. So here's what the builder looks like, and it's going to look the same for a proposal. The difference is how it looks to your clients, because your client, when you send it to them, if it's a proposal, it'll give them the option to approve it, where an itinerary gives them the option to view it on the mobile app or PDF. So that's the biggest differences. And again, we can answer any proposal questions as well. But I'm just going to create an itinerary for this one because it's an FIT and, usually those are ready to go and there's a lot of customization that goes into it. So I'm just going to create an itinerary for this example. And as you can see in this itinerary here, this blank canvas that we have, I'm going to just start creating it. So a couple of the things that I always tell users to do first is start off by going into your settings. And you can click into your settings by clicking the settings button at the top here. Then go ahead and give it a trip name. So we automatically give you your itinerary. So it's really important to go ahead and put in the name in here because then that way, as you keep building more and more, you'll know who belongs to what family, what traveler. So really important there. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a trip start date now. Now the great thing is if you don't have a trip start date, you don't have to put that in. You can come in later. So if you just know day 1, day 2, day 3, you can keep it that way, which is really nice. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and give it a date. So I'm going to choose December 13th as my date. Now, another thing you can do is if this was a proposal, you could put a price in here. I'm going to leave that blank for now. But one thing I am going to utilize is the description area. This is a really good area if you ever want to put just main information about the entire trip. Or sometimes I've seen advisors will put like a custom message from them, like, hey, I'm so excited to plan this trip for you. You can put that in there because this will appear at the top of that itinerary when your clients are viewing it. So just a really great area to put any little blurb or text in there. So that's all I'm going to do for now. I just want to add the name, the date, and that a description. So I'm going to say save changes. So there we go. Now we have the date in there. But now the next thing that I want to do is I want to change the cover image. As adorable as this dog looks, it doesn't reflect where my clients are going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the cover photo. And you can do that by clicking this change cover photo right here. And now what you can do is you have multiple ways to add photos, and we're going to walk through many different ways to add photos. But for just the cover image, I'm going to keep it simple. You could always upload your own if you want, but I'm actually going to pull from our database because we do have thousands and thousands of free stock photos, and they're really beautiful photos, high quality. Again, they're free stock photos, so they're good to use. You won't get, won't get in trouble for using them. So it's just a great place to just go ahead and enter like the destination name and then search for a photo you like. Now, in this case, the clients are going to Italy. So I'm just going to select one of these images. I'll select that one right there. Now I'll say save changes. And now that cover image is going to reflect where my client's traveling to. So that's kind of the nice thing. So it adds quite a bit there. Very simple addition to make it beautiful. But now that we have, the itinerary information set up, now is the fun part of adding information. Now, this is going to be kind of the main core of this whole webinar is just adding information into this itinerary. Now, the first thing that I want to point out before I start adding anything is the most important thing to know about Travefy is just how to add information. And all you do is you first just want to make sure you're in the day that you want to add information. So if you need to add something in Tuesday on December 14th, you can click new day and click into that day. And then just come over here and click new event. Choose what type of event you're adding, whether it's manual, looking it up, pulling it in from a supplier. You'll go there, and then that's how you'll always add, you'll add information event by event by event. So this is going to make a lot more sense when you see us starting to add things, but I just want to explain that that's how you do that. So for this first event that we want to add, I want to add the flight. Typically, that's the first thing that's going to be happening. So I'm going to go ahead and just click new event, and then I'm going to choose flight. Now, something that's really cool about Travefy, and you're going to see this over and over again, is that we have databases of information so you can quickly look things up. Because again, this is time saving. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look up this flight. So, it is on this airline, and then it is flight 201. I'm going to click get info. Say it's going from London to Rome. So, this is the flight that I want. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say add to itinerary. Boom. There it is. See how simple that was. Now, of course, you could manually add it if you wanted. So if you're giving flight options, you could add it manually, but I know the flight that I want to add in here. So I just add it right away like that. Now, a couple things that's really awesome with the flights is one, if you need to edit anything, just click that pencil icon. You can come in here, you can put like seat numbers, book through confirmation, add any notes, whatever it is. You can do whatever you want, add anything else into here. But another thing that's great about the flights is that we do have automatic flight updates. So that way, your client and you will see updates as they come in. So you just want to make sure you see that green check mark. See that little green check mark there? That means that we are following and tracking this flight. So if it gets delayed, the gate changes, whatever happens, that will update right in there, and you'll be notified too. You'll see where it says where that little green check mark, it'll have like a little like sign. If it's delayed, you'll see it, so it'll grab your attention. So that's another thing that's just really amazing about that flight tool is that it's syncing up to the flight information, so it's keeping track of it. Now, after the flight, usually the next thing might be a transfer. So to add a transfer, what you could do is you could just say new event and then say ground transport and then just begin filling it out manually. That's all you have to do. But I'm actually going to show you a little trick here. I have something already created in what's called my library. Now, this is not going to be the only time you hear about the library during this demo because we will keep touching on it because it is one of the biggest game changers. So that the library is a space where you can save information to reuse over and over again. So, for example, the example that I'm using right now is a good one where I have a transfer that I just have this private ground transfer that I've already created. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop it in. And see how simple and basic this event is? I did that on purpose. So that way, whenever I need to pull in a private transfer for a client, it's basic and simple. And I can come in here and I can start adding any information that's specific to this client. So it just saves me time. So I'm not having to redo it every time I need to have a private ground transfer. So that's how I did that. Now we'll walk through here in just a few minutes on how you save those to your library, but just so you can see how quick and easy that was, that's how you can do that. Um, but now the next thing that I want to add, and this is where you'll start to see the library and really how you can customize things, is for the hotel. So I do want to add in a hotel here because that's the next thing. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I am going to first make sure I'm in the day that the check in is happening, which is Monday. And then I'm going to click new event. And then I'm going to choose lodging. So I'm going to choose lodging here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to start typing in the name of this place. So I'm going to type in Le Meridian, let's see, Visconti, and you're going to see it populate here. So notice how it starts populating. That's because we have a database of the places and it's pulling from Google. So it's really easy, just type in the name of the place you're looking for, and then you'll get information like the website, the address, phone number, all of that stuff just right away. The other thing you can do is go ahead and choose that checkout date. So I am going to choose the date of the 17th, and you're going to see why, because this event is going to add a check-in event at the first day, but it also adds my checkout event. So they're two separate events, and that's for a reason that you might need to add different information for those days. So for the check-in, I'm going to add more information into this event, but the checkout doesn't need that type of information. So that's why they're split out, and then that your client knows what day they're actually checking out on. So that's why you'll see those separate. But now one of the most is probably the best, like one of the biggest parts of the webinar is that just how you add information to places to really make them pop. And we're talking photos, text, any links that you want to include. This is how you do that. So what I'm going to do is for this hotel, I am going to edit it. So I'm going to edit by clicking that pencil icon. Now, when I come in here, you can see that we have those form fields you can fill out if you want. You can also click in the add notes. And I am definitely going to utilize this, and you really should as well. So I'm just going to simply copy and paste from the supplier website, but this is a great area. If you have any expertise on this specific place, why you're choosing this place for your client, or something that you want to include, like, oh, you're going to love, they have a coffee bar and, something, they have the best scones or whatever it might be. Put that in here. This is a great place to add that. And you can do tons of things in here, formatting different options like inserting links or highlighting text. You can even include tables. So if you want to break out like if, for example, if this was a group trip and there's different couples, you can create a table and say, couple one, you are in this type of room, couple two, you're in this type of room. Whatever you want to do. It's just really great ways of formatting and making it look really good and structured. So again, lots of things you can do in there. But another thing that I want to do is I want to add photos. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago that we are going to go over pretty much every type of way you can add a photo, and you definitely should add photos because it's very easy. And again, it's going to be captivating. So to add photos, all you do is click into the multimedia section. So click right here. And then you have the option to add those free stock photos. But again, these are going to be generic stock photos. So they're not going to have the exact, hotel I'm looking for. So in that case, I can choose to upload my own. I could pull from their website. I could also copy from their website too. And you can add videos. You could do a lot, as you can see here, but I'm going to show you each different way. And I'm going to do on this event, I'm going to copy because it's really easy and simple. And so what I'm going to do is I already have the website pulled up for this hotel. So all these photos, if I want to use any of them, all I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and apologies if you probably can't see me right click and choose, but I'm choosing copy image after I right click. And then I'm going to go back into Travefy and I'm just going to paste it so I can right click and paste. And look at how that photo comes in. So I can actually add up to 5. So I could just add a couple more of these if I wanted. So I'm just going to go again, just copy and paste it. See how easy this is. I'm literally just clicking, just choosing the best ones, and it's so easy. So I'm just going to keep it at those ones and then just say save changes. And now I have these photos in there. Pretty simple, right? It's so awesome. And now what I can do, look at what it looks like. Now I just added all this additional information for them to see. Now, another thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go back into editing this because let's say that, I've just added this information, added photos. What should you do next? Well, I would recommend saving it to your library. That way, even if you don't typically send clients to this hotel, still save it because you never know when someone else might be requesting a similar itinerary and then you can pull it in for a quote or proposal, or someone is staying there. So go ahead and click that save to library button down in the left-hand corner. And then that way it's going to save to your library. So when you're in a new trip or quote or proposal, you will have access to this event that you created and then you don't have to remake it. It's kind of a no-brainer. So I definitely recommend doing that. Save that to your library. So another thing I want to talk about here is we've gone over flights and ground transfer, the hotel, but a big thing, especially for FITs, are going to be those custom events, those tours, those excursions, those private reservations. So I'm going to walk through all of those, so that way you can really get a sense of how you do each type of event. So the first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very specialized custom one for a dinner reservation. So I'm going to add a dinner reservation to this day. So how I'm going to do that is, once again, I'm going to come up and click the new event button. I'm going to choose activity. And then you can choose a subcategory. So I'm going to choose subcategory of food and drink. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to put in the title. So this is going to be a dinner reservation at Ristorante Momo Rome. So that's where they're going to be. I'm also going to add a time because that's very important to know. So I'm going to go ahead and click the add time. And I can say 8 p.m. I could do it if they have, like who it's booked through or anything else you need to include. You could fill that out if you wanted. Once again, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste a quick blurb from the restaurant's website, because why not? You might as well just add more to it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add those photos. So what I'm going to do in this case is, I told you how I'm going to show you all the ways to add photos. This time, I'm going to show you how to pull photos from a website, which is probably one of the top features that advisors just love in Travefy. So how you do this is you're going to click in the multimedia section. So once again, we're going to go in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose the website option. And then I am just going to copy and paste that website, click get images. Now watch what happens. Travefy then scrapes the entire website looking for images to pull in. So now what I get to do, I get to pick 5 images, or you can pick less if you want, to add in here. Pretty cool, huh? So look at all this. I'm just going to go ahead and add those 5 images in there, save changes, done. Pretty simple, huh? It is one of the coolest. I keep saying about a lot of these features, but seriously, pulling from a website is such a game changer and time saver. So it's really great. Once again, I could save this to my library so that I never even have to do that again. So just really speeding it up. The other thing that I can do is I'm going to pull in the restaurant and the restaurant location. So if you ever want to add, when we say add a place, basically you're looking in our database and pulling the information from Google. So you get like the phone number, the address. You can do that in the attachments area. So where it says type the name of a place. And I'm just going to go ahead and just pull in this, because as you can see, if I click view, you get all this information in there. Now, this is all customizable. So if you do want to remove anything or add your own like photo, something like that, you could do that. So it's completely up to you, but just a quick way, to add that location information really fast. Another thing that you could do on any of these events is you can always add attachments. So if you have documents, so for this example, maybe a PDF menu of the menu, you could attach that as a document in here. Or if you have like vouchers, things like that, you can always attach documents into any event. So that's another thing that's really cool. So you can add that in there. But other than that, I'm just going to say done editing. And there it is. So we already have our first day done. And that was pretty quick. Hopefully it wasn't too quick because I know there's is a lot. So definitely let me know again in the questions if you need me to go back through anything. I definitely can try to do that. But now the next thing that I want to add, because I said, I want to show you all the different things that you're likely to add. The next one's an excursion or a tour. Pretty much always probably going to be adding a lot of those for FITs. So I'm going to add an excursion on the 16th. So I'm just going to click add events in here. And now this date is alive for me. So now I can start adding things in here. Now I'm going to add this manually once again, because I want to show you how to add things manually and custom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the new event button. I'm going to choose activity. And then in here, I'm just going to start filling this information out again. So you've already seen me do this pretty much with that restaurant reservation. I'm just going to give it a title. And then again, I can add the notes, which I'm pulling these once again from the website or their website in there. And you can see I'm doing different formatting, like you can add bulleted lists, things like that. So once again, tons of stuff that you can do in that notes field. You could bold text if you wanted to. So if I really wanted to say like, here's everything in there, could do that. I can also fill this out, like who's booked through, if I have confirmation numbers, provider. I also am going to go ahead and add this information and say, it's 10:45 a.m. is when it starts. It is 3 hours and 45 minutes, just so they know everything. If it's not booked yet, maybe you want to put the price in there, anything you want. And then attach those documents. So if you do have a voucher, put that in there. That way they have access to all this. So that's what's really cool about that. But now the other thing that I want to do, which I'm really excited about because I feel like this always blows people's minds, is again, in the multimedia section, if you click into that, you can add photos and you have different ways that you can add photos, but I can also add a video. So check this out. So I can click video, and if it's from YouTube or Vimeo, those are the main ones. If you have a link, from a website, and as long as those links aren't private, you'll be able to pull this in, and you just click add video and see how it pulled it in. And I'm just going to say save changes. It's in there. And you're going to see when I show you what this looks like on the client's end, you'll see what it looks like for them when they open it and view it. It's really nice. So that's another thing, just showing you that you can add those videos really quickly. And that's really great if a lot of advisors will create their own videos. If you have your own YouTube channel or something and you have a video that you want to put in there, you can do that too. So it makes it really personalized. And then the last thing to mention about this is saving to library. Once again, I'm really going to ingrain that in your brain, is save to the library. That way you have it for future use. So I'm going to go ahead and say done editing. And there we go. Now we've added all that custom information. So this is pretty much as far as I am going with custom stuff. But now I want to take a little bit of time to show you how to pull things in from Travefy's integrations, because that's really a lot of the time saving is going to be had is in those supplier integrations. So first, to talk about a high level overview of integrations is we work with hundreds and hundreds of different suppliers, and we work with them in different ways. So as you saw, for example, pulling the flight in because we have a flight database, pulling, the tours in, which you're going to see. If you have a cruise, if you do cruises, we have a cruise database. So you can look up a cruise and pull that in too. And you don't need a booking number to pull that in. It's just a basic database out that we have and we've partnered with so that you can pull that information in. We also partner, though, directly with some suppliers. And in that way, it's where you can actually just put in your booking number, pull it directly in. To show you quickly how that works is if you click on the new event button and then you choose booking, you'll be able to see in this drop down menu the suppliers that we currently work directly with. So Trafalgar, for example, just take Trafalgar, for example. What you'll need to do is if it's the first time you're using that integration, you just need to sign in with your account with that supplier so that it connects. And then you'll end up just putting in like the booking number. Sometimes they might need other information, but then it just pulls everything directly into Travefy. really easy. We also have other integrations with like Avanti destinations where you push information from Avanti into your Travefy client base we work with as well. So if you have res cards on client base, you can push those to create an itinerary. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that suppliers work with Travefy. So if you ever have questions, again, email us at professional@travefy.com. Or if there's a supplier that you're not seeing in there that you use, please let us know because we would love to add them. So just let us know that. But to give you an example of how these suppliers work, I did want to bring in a tour. So I am going to bring in a tour from Avanti. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to click on the new event and then I'm going to choose tour. Now, this tour database right here, this is a database of pretty much package tours. So not a custom tour. So if it's a custom tour, you would need to pull that in directly through the supplier integration if we work with them. But otherwise, if I could choose Avanti and my client just booked the Best of Italy tour, I can just pull that in. So it's really easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for it and then say get itinerary. You'll be able to see, that itinerary first so you can make sure this is what I want to pull in. Because as you can see, it's going to add all those days. So you want to make sure it's the right one that you want. And here it is. So you can see that when I pulled this in, look at how everything comes through. We have all the days. I mean, pretty nice, huh? It's just adding everything for us. So if you want to come in and edit anything, you could do that. You could add things, do whatever you'd like in there. But it's just a really great tool. And if you do cruises, it's going to work the same way where cruise itinerary is going to add all the information to all the days, letting them know where they'll be, when, any additional information. So it's really amazing. So I definitely want to show you that just so you can see. But another really cool integration that we have is we also have destination content. And we call those city guides. So if you hear us talk about city guides, that's the destination content. And we have destination content over 650 destinations worldwide. And it's really easy to pull in. And I always recommend using it because if it's an itinerary or a quote or a proposal, it is so quick and easy to add a lot of beautiful, rich information. So to show you an example of how that integration works, I'm going to go into right over here on the right-hand side and click City Guides. So it's where your library is and just click City Guides. Then what you'll want to do is type in the name of the city. So in this case, it's Rome. They're traveling to multiple places technically on this itinerary, so I could add in those places as well. But just for an example, I'm just going to pull in Rome. Now you'll see all this information that gets pulled in or that's available to you to pull in. Now I'm going to pull in the whole guide, but I could put it into any day I want, but I'm actually going to pull it into the information document section. So this area right up at the top, you can use to put anything that's not related to a specific trip or sorry, day, a specific day, like, trip insurance information, COVID policies, whatever it is, or destination content like I'm going to do. So it's a great place that just is another area. So it's not cluttering up a day because the city guide is quite a bit of information you'll see here in just a second once it loads. But I just added the entire guide. Now you can choose to add sections. So if you don't want the entire guide, you don't have to have all of this. So you can see that we have, the city, we have top secret spots, do and see. And the best thing is, all of this is customizable. So if there's anything in here, you're like, they don't, they're going to see this somewhere else. So they don't need that. Or like you want to add in your own information, you could do that. So once again, all completely customizable. But look at how much information this is just pulling in really quickly right away. It's pretty awesome. And the other thing is if you ever want, if there's a city that's not in our database, you can always create your own city guide and save that to your library as well. So you could do that too. So lots of things you can do there. But now I know that was a lot. So taking a step back here, what I want to do next is I want to talk about, first of all, what does this look like for the client? Because that's really important. And then I want to show you how you can send and share this with clients as well. So if you just want to go ahead and see what this is looking like, just go ahead and click that preview button at the top here. And then you can see Here's what it looks like. This is what we refer to as our URL shareable itinerary. So you can see it's literally just a link right up there that is taking us to this. So you could grab that link and share it if you want. But this can be viewed on any device, whether it's mobile, tablet, computer. And you can see if I expand these photos. Let's see that video. I want to show you that video here. If I go down, see, check this out. So now I could just start playing this directly on here. Pretty awesome. How cool is that? So it's just really amazing. Looks good. Again, really, really great there. And then also on this option, they have the option to get the app or the PDF, which I'm going to come back to in a second here. But another way that you can share this with your client is the easiest way is just click the send button in the top right hand corner. And then you can, of course, get that trip link like I was talking about, or you can click the email clients. And if you just go ahead and paste in their email here, include a custom message, and then they'll receive an email that just looks like it's coming from you. And it'll have a button where they can view their trip, which will bring them here. So it'll always bring them back to this itinerary right here. And then if they reply back to that email, you'll get the response. So it doesn't get lost, in the abyss. That's the nice thing. So that's what's really great about that. Now, the two different ways that they can view this is, well, three, because one, they can view it as a URL. Two, they can get a PDF copy. So you can give a PDF if you want to them. You can click the PDF option here, and you have a lot of options. So if you need to include attachments that you've put into the trip, if you want to remove city guides because it adds too many pages, whatever it might be, you have a lot of customization on your end to export that PDF for them. But then the other option is the mobile app. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the mobile apps because it's a kind of a game changer, especially for a lot of advisors. That is the key selling point for their clients when they use Travefy is that they have that mobile app option. So the mobile app is easy for them to get. All they do is click that app button. And if they're viewing this on their phone, it'll take them to the App Store or iOS or Android or iOS store. And then that way they can download what's called the Trip Plans app. Now, the Trip Plans app looks like this. So let me make this larger. And this is pretty much what it looks like. They'll be able to click and view into each day. They can open, expand those photos again, see things. I mean, they have access to everything. The other great thing about this is that they'll get those, you can see here that they get those on times, those little things that tell you like, is it delayed? It'll let you know there. The other thing that's great about this is you can see that available offline button, that little toggle, and that'll allow you to, they can turn that on. So that way, if they're traveling without internet connection or before they get on their flight or something, they can turn available offline, and that way they can still open this up and view everything. So it'll download and save everything from their itinerary. And then the other cool thing is that connection or the communication tool. So there is an in-app chat available through here as well. So this is a great way for you and your clients to stay connected with one another and just provide really cool first-class support. You can check in with your clients through this app. You can say, notice that their flight's delayed. Say, hey, I noticed your flight's delayed. Is everything okay? Do you need anything? Things like that. We hear all kinds of really cool stories about just advisors staying connected with their clients through this app. So that's one thing that's really great about that too, is the communication side. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is you can turn that off. So if you're working with a client and maybe you're connecting with them through WhatsApp or something, then you can just turn that off. And so that option's just not even available for them. So that is available, which is nice, to turn those off if you don't want to use it. The other thing to know too is that there's two different apps. So your client is going to use what's called trip plans, and that looks like this. So it's going to have that little icon, that little like pin, and it's generic. So it's just called trip plans, not called Travefy. And then the one that you download is called Travefy Pro. And that's because that one is going to allow you to log in with your Travefy credentials, see all of your clients' trips on the go, and then that way you can chat with them in one app. So it's pretty nice. But if you haven't downloaded that app, definitely go get Travefy Pro on your phone. And then that way you can view things on the go. So really cool there. So that is talking about how to share it and how your clients access it. But one more thing I want to do, because I was afraid that I wouldn't talk enough for some reason and that we'd be out of time. So I want to talk about marketing. But here I am still 40 minutes later and I still have a lot to say. So one last thing I'm going to talk about, and then we'll get into questions, is marketing. So I always like to go over this because right now, especially right now, hopefully there's a lot of booking going on, but I also understand there's a lot of planning and a lot of just hopeful booking, like, oh, I'm not ready yet, but I know I want to do this next year. But with that comes marketing opportunities. So this is a great time to start getting people inspired and ready and excited and get their wheels turning of where they want to go. So this is a great time that in your Travefy account, you could build itineraries as marketing tools. So let's say, you want to build like this trip to Italy and you don't want to give away all your secret sauce, but you just want to like give just enough to make them be like, wow, I want that trip. That is so cool. So build that trip on Travefy and use it as a marketing tool. Here's what you can do. Two things you can do. One, you could build it on Travefy, just like this. So see how we have this trip here. And then you could grab that link, copy it, and paste it on your social media account. That way, anybody who goes to this link right here will see this trip. So then it just becomes a marketing tool. It's just kind of an example of here's a trip you could book with me. Or if you were on our webinar last week, we were talking about this, that what some advisors will do is if a client books a trip with them, they'll copy that trip, remove out any client specific sensitive information, and then share it on their social media and be like, look at this trip my client just booked. Creates a little FOMO. It's a really good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this in Facebook. So head over to our Travefy Facebook page. It's just travefy.com/Facebook. Or no, sorry, facebook.com/Travefy. And you can see that in here. And I like showing this because look at how cool this looks. See how it puts that photo in there? It gives you the title, the everything in there. And I'm just going to post this so you can see what it looks like. I mean, it really is awesome. And another thing that's cool is that you can also domain mask this. So that way, if you want to, instead of it saying travefy.com, you could mask it to your company name.com. So you can do that too. So, I mean, pretty awesome there. So I always like showing that. And then the other thing you could do is you could use our website marketing tool. And to get to the website builder, just click on your name in the top right-hand corner here. Click website. This will bring you into your builder. Now, again, we have a whole webinar just on this, so I'm not going to take up too much time, but I just want to show you that you can easily import Travefy trips into elements of here. So like I'm in the large card gallery element, and I can add a trip in here. So that way, when somebody's at my website, and again, this is great. If you already have a website, you could still use this just for marketing trips, and they can see, and when they view this trip, they're automatically taken to that link, but they can contact you. So it's just a really cool tool. And again, I understand that if you've never seen the website, you might be a little confused right now. So definitely check out our videos about the website builder. But I just always like to throw it out there because it's one of the best times right now to market and get people ready to travel, because that wave is going to come. Some people are already seeing it. So definitely be prepared for that. But with all of that being said, I know that was a lot thrown at you at once. But I do want to get into questions because I want to make sure we have time for those. So again, if we don't get to your questions, do please email us at professional@travefy.com or chat us in the little in-app chat, and let us know what we can help with too. But okay, so let's dive in here. So Kendra has been sending me, there's lots of questions coming through in there. Okay, so one is there a way to leave out hotel website on lodging so clients don't book it direct? Yes. So you can always edit that information. So once again, if you're in that place, you can click that pencil icon and remove things out and edit it. So definitely feel free to do that. And we have an FAQ on that actually as well too, on how steps on how to do that, because we understand a lot of people do that. So we create an FAQ about it. So go check that out and you'll see how to do that. Someone else asked, if you add a component to a date, but then want to change it to another day, is there a way to edit the date quickly? Yes. So there's a couple ways you can do that. So if you need to change the whole trip start date, you can just go into your settings and then just change the day, and then it'll change it for everything. If you need to move something from one day to another, you could just go ahead and drag and drop it into the next to that day. So see how I'm just dragging that into here? So I can do that too. Very simple, really easy to do. You can change that. And then you can also, like, if you need to like change full days, you can also drag and drop those around as well. So you can just drag and drop things around and all that good stuff. So it's pretty easy to do. Oh, okay. So it looks like a bunch of questions coming in. Copyrights on hotel website, photos and wording. Yeah, so that's really where it comes in for you. So sometimes we're not able to scrape images because of that reason, because there's security things over it. But even though we do pull in photos from places, just make sure you know that you're allowed to use it. It's just kind of on you. And then, or if you need to put like a little text, like this photo is from, if like a great place to add that, for example, is in the notes field. You can say like photos are from whatever you need to do. So it's just kind of on you, but it is a great tool, being able to just scrape those in there. But of course, if you have your own photos, you can upload those too. Okay, so someone asked, when you pull in pictures from a website, do you need to have the entire address or just the restaurant name? So you have to have the whole address because that's how we're finding it. So what that's actually a good tip though is that if you're ever at okay, so for example, this Marriott, I could be at the normal website of it, but if there's like a spot where you can click into photos, grab that website, or like a photo gallery, go to that specific link because that's where we're going to be able to find those photos. So whatever link you're putting in there is the what we're looking at, if that makes sense, hopefully. Let's see. Are you able to automatically search for videos as well, similar to images? Not currently. So you'll have to just find those on another tab. So just open another tab and pull up YouTube or Vimeo. And I mean, a lot of like suppliers will have videos, so definitely utilize those, especially like hotels, cruises, that tour excursion. A lot of them will have them, so you can just go ahead and pull that in. Just grab that link again, YouTube, Vimeo, good examples, and then just copy and paste it right in. Another question, can you save an entire itinerary to library and have each item stored there individually? So you will need to save each item individually, but there is something else that I want to point out about that. So you would have to save everything individually. But if you want to save an entire trip, what you can do is just save or create a trip as a template and then just copy it. So you can copy an entire trip. So you can see like this trip right here. This is a good example actually. If this client has a friend who like wants to do a similar trip, I could just copy it and then we'll start working off that same trip. So you can do that option too. Okay, so another question here is, does the PDF auto update flight or do I need to resend? So the PDF is not going to update. So the PDF, whichever version you download the PDF at, is what it will stay at. So if there's anything that's changed, you'll have to re-export. So with that being said, I wouldn't recommend the PDF being a place because that's not going to be the place where you see the updates happening. You're going to see the updates happening in the mobile app or the URL version. That's where they're going to be. Some questions on Pleasant Vacations integration. Yeah. So that's recent. So a lot of you probably saw the email. And how you get to that is you just click the new event button and click booking. And then in here, you just see Pleasant or the Pleasant Holidays in here, and you can just pull it in. Pretty slick, really nice. Okay, so another question here. If my client is chatting on the app, where do I see their chat? That's a good question. So there's two places you see it. So one, if you have the app downloaded to your phone, the Travefy Pro app, you will see it pop up in there. So you'll get a notification if you have push notification turned on. But you'll also see it in the trip builder. You can click over here on the right-hand side where your library is. You can click discussion, and you'll also see it here. So you can actually type in here and put question or answer, respond to them in the builder. So if you're on your computer, you can respond in there, which is really nice and easy because your screen is larger and you can just, you can make changes. If you make a change in there, then you can type it and say, hey, check out, December 16th, I just made a change, whatever it might be. Let's see. Another question. So would we have to download the app as well to communicate with them okay. So there, I kind of answered that one. So you will get an email notification if you don't look at it right away. So I think it might be like I feel like it might be like an hour. If you haven't looked at it, we will trigger an email to be sent that will say, you have a question on, or you have a comment on there or discussion happening. But you'll also see when you log into your Travefy account, if there's something you haven't seen, there'll be a little red dot, like just a tiny little red dot on the picture of the trip name. And that will be your indication that something needs your attention too. Someone asked, can you edit the itinerary mid-trip and have it up to date? Yes. So that's what's really cool about Travefy too, is that everything is up to date. So when you're in here editing, your client will see it. Now they might need to refresh their page or reconnect to the internet and let it refresh to see it. So that's the only thing you want to be aware of, is that they will just need to, like, if I had this open and you made a change, I would just have to click the refresh button to see that change. But otherwise in their app, if they're connected to, Wi-Fi or using data, then it'll automatically just update for them. Another question here is, how do you control a client's access to information? For instance, if they cancel with you, you no longer want them to be able to access your work. Great question. I'm glad you brought this up because we have a feature for that. So, a great feature for that, and this is good for like proposals and stuff, is you can actually turn off the visibility of the trip. So, let's say this trip right here, or let's do the copy one, because people might be looking at it on Facebook. So we'll go to the copy one, and where it says visibility, you can actually say hidden. So when they go to view it, it'll say your name is currently working on this trip. Contact them. So this is a great way if you ever need to do that. Like if you're editing the trip and you don't want them to get confused, or if it's a proposal and you're like you only have a week to see it, or they don't end up booking, you just want to close it out, things like that. So you do have that option. So that's the nice thing there. How Another question here is, how can we involve other members or partners to create their itineraries and proposals with their own logos? So what you'll have to do is they'll need their own account. So you'll have to get they'll have to have their own Travefy account. But what you can do is, people, like if you created a trip and you want to share it with them, there's options where your settings. There's an option in here where it says save a copy as the agent app action, and that way, actually, I'm going to turn it on so that way, if you go on Facebook, you can save this entire thing in there. But when you click to preview it, the save a copy button will be there for anybody who has a Travefy account. So that's what's really nice. So then that way, when they save it to their account, it'll have their information and logo at the top in there too. Okay, another one here. Let's see. Can you see proposals and trip plans or only itineraries? Great question. You can only see itineraries. So that's one of the big differences, is a proposal doesn't give them the option to download a PDF or view it in the app, because you don't want them to do that, because then, obviously they could take it and run with it, and you don't want that. So, so that's why the itinerary is the option where you can see, the option to download the app and get the PDF copy of it. Okay, so a lot of people are asking about Pleasant Vacations integration. So yes, so how you get to that. So when you open a trip, it really doesn't matter what day you're in. I could be in any day, and just click the new event button and then choose booking. So you want to choose booking. Now from this drop down, you'll see Pleasant. So you can start typing it and it'll come, but you'll see it right there. And then you just want to sign in with your credentials. You just have to do this once, and then it'll remember your credentials. And then that way you can add your booking information from there. So that is that one. And it looks like another question here, and we'll probably start wrapping up here soon, is domain masking, which I'm glad someone brought this up, because domain masking is a no-brainer. If you own a domain, please set it up. So here's how you do it. And then I'm also going to tell you that we can help you do this. So the first thing is, so domain masking, first of all, is where you can mask the domain. So when I send this trip to somebody, right now it says travefy.com. If you own a domain, you can set it up so that it says yourtripname.com. So it's really awesome, and it's free to set up. And all you do is you go into your settings. So go into your account first, and then click into settings, and then click set up domain. This is where you come to do it. Now, when you're setting up your domain, you set it up in Travefy really easy, but then really where it happens is you just have to go to where your domain is located or is hosted. For example, GoDaddy. If you have a GoDaddy domain or you purchase through them, you want to get into your GoDaddy account and you just have to set up some, it's called DNS settings. But on that, it's not as hard as it sounds. It's very easy. But we also do offer trainings to help with that. So it takes about 5-10 minutes to set up as long as everything runs smoothly, which it typically does. But just reach out to our support team. We can set up a session with you where we'll do a screen share, so then that way you can pull up your account, and then we can just direct you where you need to go, so we can help you out with that. But that is all. I mean, lots of things you can do. So definitely let us know. We would love to get that set up. The last thing that I do want to mention, though, before I power down here is once again, if you haven't tried Travefy yet, you can go to Travefy.com, start a free 10-day trial. If you had a trial previously, then you can just, and you want to try it again, email our support team and we can restart that for you too. So that's not a problem. We can always redo that. And then again, we do offer demos and trainings as well. So please utilize us. Let us know what we can help with. And I hope this was fun. I know it was a lot, so I hope you learned some new things. For any of you current users, new people, I hope you are enticed to use it now. But once again, definitely go to travefy.com/support, check out all of our other webinars, videos, things like that to see those. But just want to say thank you so much again. This has been fun, and we really, really appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us to learn more about Travefy. We really, really appreciate it. And again, keep us updated if you have any questions. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day.